today we're talking issues 1 through 6 of Batman/Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Let's dive under the sewer and break down this storyline. Sam Humphries, tell us about the background. What's the story here? What's the plot?
This is a great way to bring these two worlds together. This takes place in the Gotham City of the DC universe, the Gotham City that we know from the Batman comics, and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and other people are visitors from another dimension. So they're coming from their continuity into this continuity.
Yeah.
And that's part of the problem, is that they're trapped here. They're visitors. This is a world, they don't know Batman. The world is different than the one that they know, and the clock is ticking because the longer they stay there, the bigger the chance that they will revert back to turtles and a rat.
Unmutated.
Unmutated.
Regular teenage turtles.
Yeah.
I love those stakes. I love those stakes.
Yeah,
Now,
a
I'm a big fan of the animated movie that was inspired by the comic book that we're talking about right now, which is Batman versus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But this is a book that I think surprised everybody when it came out, right, Amy?
It was so much fun to watch. I was working in the shop when this came out, and honestly, look, we were all on board when you said we are making a Batman Ninja Turtles comic.
Cool.
We were
Instant
like,
fun.
yes, clearly we are going to check this out.
Yeah.
But nobody really knew what to expect from it. And this comic came out and kind of blew everyone's expectations out of the water because they were like, oh, this works.
Yeah.
This mixture is really working. They found some really clever choices, like using Killer Croc to sort of remind you that these worlds are not as different as you think they are. But writer James Tynion IV and artist Freddie Williams II found this somehow way of looking at the world that they both could stand in a room together, and you're just like, nah, I believe it. The book went to multiple printings. It has had sequels. They have done ones that are done one that was tailored to the animated versions of them. Like it's like an empire now, but it was just this really fun left field, like, y'all, I can't believe how good this book is.
Yeah.
And normally, and I don't think this is crazy to say, normally intercompany crossovers with sort of intellectual properties, they're not always everybody's favorite comics.
Sometimes they be gimmicky.
The
Comics be gimmicky.
Sometimes.
I do remember, so you were there. We saw Batman in '89.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes.
What
And
a
then we
time.
saw
Cineplexodian.
and then we saw Turtles in '90.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking,
I remember you
Peanut butter?
said so.
Let's
I
go.
said it to you.
You said it'd be a brilliant idea to bring them together, and I said it will never happen. Never
Back
happen.
in 1991.
And here we are 59 years later.
59 years later, and because I was wrong, I have to eat the Blu-ray.
Well, there you go. Just
Yeah.
go ahead and put that in your mouth.
I'll put it in my turtle soup.
Put it in your turtle soup. Sam, you are absolutely a comic book veteran. Amy, you are as well. I think that at the table we can agree, Sam, that these two are the sort of comic geniuses.
Oh,
We
absolutely.
all love comics.
We all love comics,
Yeah.
but you mentioned those two movies, those huge movies in the late 80s, early 90s. This is the first time you read this comic book as well.
This is
And
correct.
being a big fan of Batman from back in the day, being a big fan of the Turtles from back in the day, give us your overall thoughts on the 6 issues.
So I will say that I am also very familiar with the Batman as a comic book character, in addition to a film character, but I am less familiar with the Turtles as comic book characters. I never really read a lot of Turtles comics when I was a kid. It was, for me, it was the movies and the TV show. But what I loved in reading this in all 6 issues was the camaraderie between the Turtles. They're all brothers, the way they talk to each other, how, the slang they use. That to me was as authentic as I remember it being on the show, in the movies. And then Batman, this was a classic comic version of Batman. There's nothing, crazy. Oh, well, it's Batman, but in this one he's got a British accent. No, it's nothing weird like that. It's just, it was.
He might have, but we can't hear it because we're just.
Oh, you guys didn't read that? Weird. I totally picked up on it. No, but this was just a straightforward Batman. And so I loved the more straightforward vibes of the two, and I really got into it. Like, everything felt so authentic.
Yes.
Like, how the first time they sort of fight each other, when the Turtles are back under the sewer, they were like, that guy was crazy, man. The way he was hitting us. He wasn't trying to hurt us. There were no lethal blows. He was testing to see our skill.
Because they're all ninjas.
But the character moments
Fighting
are
like
so
a detective.
Yeah, he's fighting like a
detective.
Leonardo was really distraught. Leo was like, we've never fought anybody like that. He was like,
But then
really
Raphael's like,
shaken up.
stop being impressed by him.
Yeah.
Perfect Raphael move.
Yeah,
Because when, that was a thing I loved in playing up the characters, which is that, of course, of the Turtles, Raphael, who I like to give a hard time because he's a moody teenager, but like Raphael in a brooding contest with Batman is a thing you didn't know you needed to see until you actually read it, and you were like, yeah, that's exactly how that would go.
But I want to talk about now some of the dynamics between the characters, because I think for me the key for what makes this whole crossover work, I love me some Turtles, I love me some Batman, but I think that the Turtles, there's no better crossover character in the DC universe. Like the Turtles with Shazam would be great, but there'd be something missing. The Turtles with Aquaman would be great, but there'd be something. The fact that it's Ninja Turtles and Batman, I want to talk about that dynamic. What worked for you really well?
What works for it is that, and I know you're going to laugh at this, Batman's a scientist.
All right, okay.
So
Go on.
I'll allow it.
Go on.
So, because he approaches everything from a detective standpoint and a scientific standpoint, he's acknowledging, like, no, this is weird. I need to find out about these mutations. I need to know about this interdimensional doorway. And he approaches it from a very scientific, very realistic standpoint.
This metal doesn't exist in our universe, and it's like reverting, you're like Raphael's Sai.
I loved that take. I loved that he was a straight shooter with them. Every time he talks to the Turtles, he's like, no, it's really bad from a scientific standpoint. I've done the homework, and I want to help you guys.
But wouldn't it be great, though, to see the Turtles now that you mentioned that, mix it up with, like, Wonder Woman, who she comes from a mythological world, that she would just accept them, but, like, on a totally different term?
You gotta be my friend the Minotaur.
We gotta go fight the Minotaur. That makes sense. That's fine. That'd be hilarious.
I really love the connection that Batman and Splinter had. I love this dynamic. That Splinter... Fathers. They're both fathers. They're both dedicated martial artists who respect the art and respect what it has done for their lives. But I love that Splinter could outsmart Batman and figure out who Batman was.
That was a big...
And instead of trying to kick his Batman respects him.
I love that, too.
Bond, and there's that moment at the end where he does like this to him, like a sensei. He respects him as a sensei.
You guys, Splinter is my favorite character from the Turtles universe.
Oh, okay.
So, hands down, like, we all have our favorite Turtles. Everybody on Earth does, but when I really think about it, Splinter is my favorite character of that whole universe.
And I think that's
don't want to give
you
spoilers.
and Batman are like.
Exactly, I think all I was going to say was they definitely did Splinter right on top of the Turtles. Like, the way that they handled all that was great,
Well, and they let, even though they were having fun mashing the toys together, they let Splinter have a moment with Shredder that's true to their character history, so that they're like, it's a Batman story. Everybody's got history with their bad guys.
Hamato
and it has
Yoshi.
to mean something.
That's great.
My favorite character from the Turtles universe, I'm not going to mention because that character showing up is one of the fun things that happens later on in this book.
That's a great part. That's a great part.
And you all know who I'm talking about.
I
sure do.
Because I'm very predictable.
Raphael.
So was Baby.
Okay, all right.
I loved how what the book goes into is again all the similarities between the characters. They're both these urban city-dwelling ninja street level ninja characters. They both of them have had sort of tragedy and circumstances that the Turtles are wearing it on their sleeves because they're Turtles, because they are who they are. So they have to walk around in a world where they're not animal enough to be animals, they're not human enough to fit in and be humans, so they're this really interesting, them and Splinter, of just like, well, this is who we are, this is what we do, we fight evil, we're bad guys, we love each other, we're all we have, we are mutants in the world, and we won't ever truly be accepted, whereas Bruce Wayne Batman to the Turtles comes across as this psychopath until Batman has to reveal to Raphael, this is why I do what I do. I lost my family. And I vowed to never let that happen again. And the whole thing is about family.
Yes.
The whole I mean, Batman has such a bat family. It was fantastic.
You were talking about how authentic the Turtles were in this, talking about brothers, Splinter is their father. That's their family. Batman, of course, has the Bat family.
The Bat family.
Goes to the core of what both of these franchises are about.
Okay, guys, let's talk about some of the villains. We're going to talk about Shredder teaming up with Ra's al Ghul. And I like how at one point the Turtles are like,
Racial Ghoul.
Who's this Racial Ghoul?
But this is amazing because that's the actual correct pronunciation.
That's right.
Correct Arabic pronunciation. For decades, Batman fans have been saying Ra's al Ghul incorrectly.
Us included.
Yes, exactly.
No.
Myself included.
And look, growing up, I thought it was Ra's.
Mr. Ra's al Ghul, was it?
And then that only helped reinforce it.
It's fine either way, but that was such a great little moment to have that sort of come alive for the perspective of the Ninja Turtles who's never dealt with this character.
And
then have to have Batman go, Ra's al Ghul. Like, you could read it that way.
Some of the most fun moments in a crossover are when people, like, you feel like it would be a waste of time to reintroduce information the audience already knows, but sometimes it's the best moments when it's somebody saying, like, does the name Arkham mean anything to you?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
you're like,
And
oh,
it's
it does to
"Ah!"
me. Wait. And I love the exchange between, to go back to some of the hero characters for a second, young Master Michelangelo and old Master Alfred, I thought was really funny, where Mikey calls
That's not how that
Alfred.
works.
Yeah.
Old Master Alfred.
That was pretty good.
Was really fun. But the villains.
The villains. Let's talk about the Penguin.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
He's one of the first villains we see sort of interacting with Shredder.
Yep.
I'm sitting there reading. I'm going, I don't think this is going to work out for you, Penguin. I feel like you're kind of the diabolical type. Shredder is a vicious murderer.
Yes. Yes. He is covered in murdery things.
Yeah.
to
That's
murder
right.
people.
Yeah.
It's in his
Very
name.
poison.
Yeah,
It's
but
in his name.
But without giving away too much of what happens in the story, because I know that's important not to give it away.
The last issue has a fantastic melding of Batman's Rogues Gallery,
Yes.
which is one of the greatest collection of villains in all of fiction,
Yeah.
and the mythology of the Turtles in a way that I did not see coming.
Yeah.
And when the reveal happens,
Yeah.
It's so
I
fun.
had to catch my breath because
Yeah.
then I realized
And the
they're
way
gonna
they
go there.
and the way they worked the Rogues Gallery into the story
Yes.
totally made sense. It totally
Yep.
fit. It
Yeah.
was not forced in any way. I loved it. I dug it. I thought it was such a great way to keep everyone from the Bat world involved.
Yeah.
I thought it was like I was just again impressed by sort of the elegance with which they were like, if you were like, here's a list of things we'd like to see in a story like this, can you get them all into 6 issues without it feeling like a tour of DC?
Yep.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and they somehow did. Where you're like, you got the Bat Signal, you
Yep.
got James Gordon, you got like, how did how
Gordon.
are you doing all of
Oh,
this?
what a great moment the
And
Gordon
not-
moment
not
was.
just like,
So
They were
great.
just taking things off
He
the list. They're
literally took
colliding
his
them
glasses
into
off.
each other.
Using them.
Colliding them into each other in a way that
Gordon-
illuminates them
Yeah.
off each other.
Absolutely.
You see the Batman stuff in a new light. You see the Turtle stuff in a new
Yeah.
light. I loved how this book is really funny.
Yes.
This is James Tynion at his funniest. James is known for a lot of his Batman work. He's got that on lock. I don't think he's ever written the Turtles before this. He has incredible voices for each of these Turtles.
Spot on.
Not just the characters are funny, but the way that he smashes these worlds into each other are witty and funny
Yeah.
and innovative.
I don't think there's a better splash page in the history of comics than the Ninja Turtle Michelangelo riding the robot T-Rex in the Batcave screaming, "This is everything I've ever wanted in my entire life." Like, that was just
You know what?
pure fan service. and
This
it
brings
was
up
so
something that
funny.
I was thinking of the whole book is that like Batman has a bit of each of the Ninja Turtles in his personality.
Yes. Sure.
Leonardo, their leaders.
Yep.
The loner leader. the,
Yep,
yeah.
yep. Raphael.
Raphael, they brood, they're
anger.
moody.
Donatello.
Donatello, they're scientists.
But where's the Michelangelo?
Right in that moment. the Batman who's
You don't
like,
keep the
"I'm gonna
dinosaur
build
if you don't have a
Batcave,
little-"
I'm gonna keep
That's very true.
And he may be like, get off the dinosaur.
Right.
But in his heart,
But
he's,
really,
like,
he's like,
we understand how
I know,
cool
I know
like,
how cool
this
that is.
I've ridden the
Dinosaur is.
dinosaur too. I know how cool it is.
Yeah.
I know,
exactly.
and he did have the piece of pizza, which
did-
is
he
another
did have
great.
piece of pizza.
You know, if
Batman eating pizza.
if we're talking about how each of these characters in each of these worlds impact the other and affect the other, you can really see how the Turtles are affected by working with Batman.
Yep.
And that they're inspired by him, and that
Yes.
plays into the story towards the end. But you can also see little moments of Bruce kind of being warmed, his heart being warmed by the Turtles and their presence. And
Yes. And they're
you
dynamic.
see that at the end of the story as
family.
well, but specifically when Batman decides to have a slice of pizza and he's like, "It's good," like is the
Yeah,
funniest,
it's the greatest
thing.
moment in there where he's like, he stops and he has to be Bruce again.
Yeah.
But while he's still dressed as Batman.
Yeah.
In that moment, and that was there were so many great little moments like that. One of my favorites was when Michelangelo drops a "Game over, man." It's over. I was like, oh, good on you, boys.
I love
Yeah.
there's a little Easter egg in there because on the comms, Alfred calls himself Penny One.
Penny One.
Penny One, that's his code name. I thought
Yes.
that was hilarious. But then it's like, well, who's Penny Two? And I was like, of course. It's the giant penny in the back.
There's so much story packed into the 6 issues. At the end of it, I was like, I kind of wish there were more. I know that there are sequels,
Yes.
but thankfully the first 6 issues of this first miniseries is on DC Universe. You can go and get the animated film Batman versus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We're living in a golden age of being a Batman and Turtle fan at
I
the
know.
same time.
The Venn diagrams
amazing.
are merging.
Yeah.
Finally.
Way too long.
Finally. But
9-year-old me.
last question.
And exploding.
Yes, exactly. Last question for your 9-year-old inner self.
Oh boy.
I need 2 things. Give me your sort of wrap-up final thoughts on the book and your favorite Ninja Turtle. Go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Wrap up.
Yeah.
Thoughts on the book. I enjoyed every page of this. I read all 6 in one fairly quick sitting.
It's a quick read.
It is a quick, fun read. At no point does it drag. At no point did I feel like, oh, I'm in the slow exposition. Nothing like that. The action kicks off and then really does not let up. And there's so much fun with the characters. The characters have fun.
Yes.
And that's what I want. I always love seeing the Turtles have fun. They're superheroes, but they're having fun being superheroes. And then they force Batman to have fun being a superhero. And it's great. And I really liked it. And 9-year-old me was over the moon happy. And I've always been a Michelangelo.
Yeah, man.
So
Yeah.
he's
That makes
my guy.
sense. That makes sense.
That decision's easy for me.
Okay.
Raphael all the way. I've always been a Raphael.
Yep.
I always will be a Raphael.
Yep.
I'll be Raphael to the day I die.
Is that all right with you?
That's
Yes,
right.
the answer
Yep.
is yes, of
The
course.
answer is absolutely
right with us.
correct. I got a shout out to Freddie Williams II,
Yes.
the artist on this book. He is a fantastic artist. I would have never cast him for this. I don't know if I was the editor on this book, I don't know that I would have thought of him for this, but he
Perfect.
is perfect for this.
Perfect.
He is not too much of a Batman artist, he's not too much of a Turtles artist. He brings them together in a synthesis where they both work together visually on the page.
Yeah.
This is not like live action and animated, you know, where one looks like this and the other one looks like that reality.
Right.
It's just great to see him on this book because Freddie and I actually worked together before. We did the solo.
Sam, stop that.
Ow.
That's weird. How are you doing that with your...
doing?
Stop. That's
No,
so
stop.
loud.
That-
gotta-
please stop.
wow, ugh.
Please stop doing that.
Whatever you're trying. Just
Okay,
stop.
Raphael.
Yeah, but overall, book is great. Yeah, great,
Yeah.
fantastic. Okay, a lot of fun. That's what Fix Your Voice.
Please stop doing that.
Amy, what were your overall thoughts? And give us your favorite turtle.
I was, again, just so, delighted by this book that we got because, I was also that same 9-year-old. I love these things very much. It was fun to watch them play together. And I am maybe biased in favor of this book because I felt like it really showed off my favorite turtle, clearly the best turtle, Donatello.
It makes sense.
Yep.
It makes sense. You guys, you know what I love about our friendship? We are about to pick, each of us, a different ninja turtle. That's great. That's great.
We did
Ready?
not discuss this.
Yes.
3 fingers in, and we're gonna say turtle power on 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Turtle power! Leonardo, baby. That's my favorite Ninja Turtle.
Amazing.
Nobody's favorite is
Amazing.
Leonardo, but I love him because I think he's the best at being a Ninja Turtle. He so embodies that responsibility. He's able to counterbalance the fun sort of Mikey and Don shenanigans and the really impetuous nature of Raphael. And I think that this is also a trick thing to do, and the book pulls it off beautifully. It does Leonardo right, and it makes him so interesting
does.
and so you so get him when you compare him to a Batman, and you go, yeah, if I love Batman, of course I love Leonardo. And the moment where Splinter's like, work on your footwork, he's pushing you harder than you know, and Batman's like, his footwork seems fine, and Splinter's like, I wasn't talking to Leonardo. Got you, dude. So good. That's gonna do it for us for today's Comic Book Club. Stay radical, dudes and dudettes. Cowabunga! Chevy Nova?
We all picked.
Different.
Perestroika?
We did not
That's
discuss
amazing.
that. That's amazing.
Not at all, yeah.
Yeah.